Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webcast today, where you'll hear from 5 ASCENT authors and learn what's new in ASCENT's 2017 Autodesk Courseware. Joining our authors are Paul Burden, Director of Product Development, and Rhonda Wiley, our Business Development Manager for ASCENT. I will now pass things over to Rhonda to begin our presentation.
Thank you, Karine, and hello and welcome, everyone. We're really glad to have you with us today. We have a lot of great things to share with you in terms of our 2017 release cycle. Our team, which Karine mentioned will be joining us soon, is the creative force behind our training guides, so they have a lot of great information to share with you. You'll have the opportunity to get their insights on the new versions and what changes there may have been, and then also at the end of the presentation to ask any questions you may have. We are pleased to announce this year that ASCENT has been recognized by Autodesk under their Authorized Publisher program, and we're one of a small select group who create high-quality learning materials for the Autodesk products, and so we've been designated as such in that program. So our goal is to have the core training content available to you when the software releases, so in turn you can start providing your team time to review the new material and start prepping for classes that you may have scheduled a little bit later out. Over the next several months, our authors will be releasing over 70 titles. We have a lot in the pipeline. A lot is out already and a lot is coming out. So by investing in more advanced and specialized titles, we can give you more of a single source solution for your courseware. And with that brief overview, I'm just going to turn it over to Paul so he can tell you more about what's coming.
Thanks very much, Rhonda, and good day to everybody. I see lots of familiar faces and names, I should say, on our list here today, and a lot of new names as well. So that's great that we had a chance to get with everybody today and give you some insight into our 2017 release of our Autodesk training guides. I have with me today several members from our authoring team who are going to highlight some of the changes to the training guides as a result of some of the new and enhanced features in the 2017 software. So we have Renu Mathu, who looks after our AutoCAD, AutoCAD Electrical, 3ds Max, Showcase, and Plant Design training guides. I've got Martha Hollowell, who looks after all of our Revit titles, so she deals with the architecture, MEP, and structure verticals for Revit. Michelle Rasmussen looks after all of our infrastructure products. She'll talk to you about Civil 3D and InfraWorks. She also works on AutoCAD Map and some AutoCAD titles as well. Jennifer McMillan looks after our manufacturing side, so she does all of our Inventor training guides. We'll be talking about Fusion as well when we get to those slides, about a new release we have coming for that product. And finally, Barb Nash, who is our data management expert, so she looks after all of our Vault titles. So each of these ladies will come online at various points through the presentation, again, to highlight some of the changes that they've been making to the 2017 training guides. We're going to start out, as we usually do, with our AutoCAD titles, and AutoCAD continues to be one of our highest demand categories for training guides. So it's typically one of the earliest ones that we release. The software came out on March 21st a few weeks ago, so we were very happy to be able to have several of our titles ready for that, including the update training guide for users that were moving from 2015 and 2016 up to this current 2017 release. We also had the mixed units version of our fundamentals level titles out. The mixed units, of course, in those training guides, we have a combination of imperial and metric in the practice exercises. We have our metric version just about ready to go, so that will be out in the next couple of days, in fact, before the end of this month. And then as we progress through the summer months, we'll have our advanced titles coming out in June and July for AutoCAD, and the 3D drawing and modeling release is scheduled for May for the mixed units version, and then in July for the metric. And then the last one on the list down below is the raster design essentials, and that one we have slated for later in the fall to be released. The first of our authors that I'm going to have speak to you is Renu, and again, Renu looks after a number of different titles for us, but one of her primary ones is the AutoCAD. So Renu, if you could jump in and tell us a little bit about what's happening with those training guides, please.
Thanks, Paul, and welcome everyone. So I'll be briefly going over the new and enhanced features in AutoCAD 2017 software that we have incorporated into our various training guides, including the AutoCAD 2017 Fundamentals Training Guide and the AutoCAD 2017 Update for 2015-2016 Users Training Guide. So the first enhancement is the tooltip delay. When we hover our cursor on a tool, information about it displays in the form of a tooltip. Sometimes you do not want to see the tooltip so that they can be turned off completely, or a delay can be set in the options dialog box. This is a very subtle but a very useful enhancement, especially for people like me who take a lot of screen captures or create videos. So at that time, you may not want to see those tooltips. Both our Fundamentals Training Guide and our Update Guide covers this feature and how it works. So next, the look and feel of the AutoCAD help has been changed. The help command now opens a browser window. Here you can search for commands, which displays a list of help topics that are relevant to the searched command. If you do not want to search for a command, then a list of videos is provided, and you can check out the latest videos about how the AutoCAD software works and things like that. Next slide. So the next enhancement, which we have incorporated in our training guide, is the geometric center object snap. And it finds the geometric center of an irregularly shaped closed polygon. Although this feature was introduced last year as part of the center object snap, but now in 2017 release, it has been separated out and has to be turned on separately in the OSNAP list. Then the center mark and the centerline tools. These are really handy tools. All of this functionality is covered in both our Fundamentals Training Guide and our Update Training Guide as well. We have also incorporated these tools in a practice to show how those work. So the center mark tool indicates the center of an arc or a circle and creates an associative center mark for the selected circle or arc. Similarly, the centerline tool, it creates a center line that are associated with the selected line and a polyline segment. These tools are associative, which means that they are intelligent tools, and if the associated objects move, the center lines and the center marks also update along with them. Both these tools can be found in the ribbon on the Annotate tab Centerlines panel. The Centerlines panel is new as well. So along with these two tools, many new system variables have been added, and we talk about those in our training guides as well. And these system variables, they control the properties such as the length of the lines or the gaps, etc., that are created using the center mark or center line tools. Now, specific to our Fundamentals Training Guide only, this year in the How-To section, I have incorporated the first step, which gives the student information about the command access. So it specifies in which tab and in which panel of the ribbon the command is located. This makes the shift to the ribbon, and the focus is on accessing the commands using the tools or buttons, which are much easier to remember, rather than using the command line entry, which was the older and the more cumbersome way of starting the commands. So now I will go over some of the additional features and enhancements that are covered in our Update Training Guide. So they are as follows. And now the first one is that several dialog boxes have been enhanced to make them consistent throughout the software. Some of the dialog boxes are bigger, and they can now be resized to view more information without having to actually scroll. For some of them, the preview area has been increased to display the larger preview image of the selected drawing. The enhancements vary depending on how inconsistent the dialog box was in the previous release. So the dialog boxes that have been enhanced are, some of them are like the Select File dialog box, the Insert dialog box, Page Setup Manager, Object Grouping, Layer States Manager, and so on. There are many more of the dialog boxes which have been enhanced. Now, there's also new enhancements to the units command in the AutoCAD software. A US survey feet has been added as an option in the insertion scale list. Next slide. So last but not least, and one of the biggest enhancements, and that is that you can now import PDF files and have it turn into drawing objects. As you can see in the image above, that there are multiple sheets in the PDF file. You can select one that you want to import the drawing objects from. There are several settings that can be set to determine how text or the hatch and other objects are handled while conversion. This enhancement has been covered in our update training guide. So these are the enhancements to our AutoCAD 2017 training guides this year. Thanks.
Great, thanks a lot, Renu. All right, so the next category I'm going to move on to is the building and architecture. Before I do there, we do get questions about how we prioritize the list of titles and the dates at which we plan to release them. And certainly we take into account the demand for individual titles. We also look at the impact of the software changes on those training guides and the amount of effort involved with updating those. So we use that as those kind of three categories to prioritize the dates upon which we're going to release these. None of those dates are set in stone, so we have some flexibility in our development schedule. So we always encourage end users and trainers that use our training materials to let us know about projects they have coming up that maybe come before some of the release dates that we have published, and sometimes we're able to move things around. So certainly take a look at that. We are publishing, or have already actually published, our roadmap for the 2017 releases on our website. Rhonda will have the website address up for you a little bit later on where you can find that roadmap. And we encourage you to take a look at that and get some idea of when we plan to have various titles out throughout the year. All right, so for the building and architecture category, this of course is where we have all of our Revit titles listed here, again for architecture, MEP, and structure, and then what we call the platform category, which is the titles at the top here for Revit, BIM management and collaboration tools. The platform, for anybody who's not familiar with that, is what we call the titles that are applicable to all three verticals. So in those titles, we'll have exercises that are applicable for architecture, MEP, and structure on those topics that overlap those three verticals. Once again, we were happy to have 3 of our titles for Revit released already. So the software became available earlier this week on the 18th. So on that day, we released our fundamentals level courses for Revit architecture, Revit MEP, and Revit structure, and those are all the imperial versions, and the metric versions of those are not far behind. We hope to have the architecture fundamentals for metric out in April, MEP in May, and for structure also in May. So those will be coming soon. And then the other title, again, will be spread out over the coming months, over the summer months, with our BIM management titles coming out in June and July. I'm going to invite Martha Hollowell now, who's our author for the Revit series, to come online, and she can give us a little bit of insight again into the changes to expect in the training guides for the 2017 release of Revit. Martha.
Thank you, Paul. I'm not seeing the next, oh, there you go, there it is. So one of the things that's interesting, we mentioned our platform and all of the various titles. All the disciplines are now included in one program. So instead of buying Autodesk Revit, architecture, you're going to just get Autodesk Revit. But we understand that who needs what is very different. So we are continuing to have our separate fundamentals training guides for architecture, structure, and MEP. And this year, one of the other things that we've done is we've created slides for our MEP. This is for our instructor tools. So we have a full set of slides for that. Before, we only had them for architecture and structure. So that was all for our fundamentals. All the way through, we constantly want to update and make our books better. So I've added a lot more colorful graphics. This is especially important for our e-books, as well as our online Productivity Now program. Another thing that we do constantly, I update and expand practices. So this year I've actually separated out some practices for testing HVAC and plumbing systems in our MEP training guide. I also added a new practice for electrical in the schedules chapter. So each time we try to add things that will be more useful, sometimes to very specific people and sometimes to the greater group. Another thing that I actually did in Revit Architecture too is I added some furniture to the model so that it's going to clarify some differences. There's no actual picture for this, but that'll be very helpful when you're duplicating views, modifying the view display. And of course, we add new and enhanced information all the way through each of our training guides. The biggest one this year is the new text editor. So finally, Revit has a useful text editor. You can number things better. There's indentation. You can actually change from title case to all caps, subscript, superscript. As you can see all of these. And in our practices, instead of having you type a whole bunch of general notes, there's actually a cut, copy, and paste options. So within this text editor, so we have you open a document or a text file, copy it in, and then modify it using all the various tools that are in there. Some additional things that you'll find in this, our fundamentals guides as well as in later guides. Expanded view range dialog box, that's always been confusing to people. What does that exactly mean? So they've actually put pictures in the dialog box so you can figure out how that works a little bit better. There are now templates for schedules, so we'll cover that in our BIM management class. A couple structural things, structural connectors, as well as improved structural reinforcement settings. And even though I didn't put it on the slide, there are also improved MEP settings. So once you get into those various areas in the MEP guide, you'll see a few more of those. And as I mentioned, many of these items are covered in our fundamentals training guides, and a few will be in our expanded further in our advanced guides. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, Martha. All right, just a note too, I always like to point out that even though we have a set series of titles for each of these products, everything we do is customizable. We create things to be very modular in each of the training guides, so that makes it easy for us to move things around to create customized versions of the training guides for different purposes. So if you're an instructor and you have a topic list that maybe varies from some of the titles that we have here, or the outlines of the titles that we have, let us know, because we can move things around. We can pull content from different books. So Revit is a great example of that, where we have a variety of courses on different areas of the software. We're able to pull those modules from the different titles together to create a unique book that maybe fits the purpose of the training class that you're trying to deliver. So reach out to us in any cases like that, and we can talk to you about how we can move things around to make sure we fit what you're trying to teach in your classes. All right, our next category is our infrastructure category, and we have a number of titles released again for the 2017 version of our Civil 3D training guides. So the software came out again on Monday, just this past Monday for Civil 3D, so we were able to have both the Imperial and the metric versions of our Civil 3D fundamentals course ready to go on Monday past, as well as the Imperial version of our Civil 3D for Surveyors title. So those three are out and available today. We have the metric version of our Civil Surveyors course coming out in July, and the Civil 3D grading course coming out later in September. The next big one for us on the infrastructure side is the InfraWorks Fundamentals course, which we have slated for release in June, and that'll be followed up with our Map 3D in August, and then the Introduction to Plant Design we have coming out in the fall as usual. So I'm going to invite now Michelle Rasmussen to come on, and she can tell us a little bit about what's happening in the Civil and InfraWorks titles. Michelle.
Thank you, Paul. So there haven't been too many changes lately in Civil 3D, as we've all noticed, but some really great things have come out, specifically with corridors and data shortcuts. So basically in our project management chapters in any of our books, we are now incorporating the use of corridors in the data shortcuts. You can create a shortcut to a corridor and then reference that into another file, and so we actually have exercises that go through those steps. Next, feature lines can now be sightless, and so we'll see that when we actually get into our grading exercises in the courses. And the biggest one that I think is really great is the fact that we can externally manage our data or our Civil 3D styles. And what this basically means is it's a CAD manager tool that's used to enforce CAD standards. So you can connect multiple templates to the same drawing files and set the priority of those styles or the priority of those templates. And it's really great because what I've done is I've actually included a template in the data set. And if you are customizing a class to teach users at a specific company how to work with the styles that they'll be using every day, all you need to do is take that company standard and put it in place of this template that I've attached to all of the drawing files, and then you'll be able to basically customize the class to those company standards. So it's a great way to keep moving forward and customizing company standards. Next slide. All right, next, our survey class, we have actually completely rearranged the content. I actually did this last year, and it worked out really well. Got some great feedback on it, so we kept that new format for this year. But basically, you know, the chapters 1 and 2 haven't really changed. They still go over the interface, kind of connecting to geospatial data. And then when you get into chapter 3, we'll start talking about styles specific to survey. So only those styles that surveyors would care about. And then we have the importing of survey data broken up into 3 different chapters. The points chapter just brings in point data with no line work attached to it. Chapter 5 actually goes into connecting points and the connectivity codes used with points. And that way, by breaking it out into these separate chapters, if your company doesn't even go into field books, you can skip that chapter altogether. So it makes it a lot easier to learn just the information that you need to learn. Next slide. All right, now, of course, we see a lot of changes with feature lines. I mentioned that feature lines are sightless. We'll cover most of that in our grading book. But an even bigger one is feature lines can now be a baseline for a corridor. And so what does that mean? Well, in Chapter 6 of our grading training guide, we actually build Lagoon using a corridor model. Well, instead of using alignments and profiles to build that corridor model, now we can use feature lines, and we'll be trading out some of those alignments and profiles for a feature line to build the baseline corridor and be able to show that design. It makes it really nice because, you know, if you are doing grading with feature lines and you decide you need something a little bit more complex, well, you've already got the feature line in the drawing. Now you can just take that information and reuse it without having to start over. Next. And of course, our newer product is the InfraWorks fundamentals, and there's some really great things going on with InfraWorks. It's expanding in capabilities every single day. Model Builder is much more accurate, much better. So you'll see that in the beginning chapters of the InfraWorks Fundamentals book. And then most of the content that is new, though, is in the design context. So the road design module, bridge design, drainage design, that's where you'll see the majority of the changes. You know, when it comes to road design and intersections, the advanced capabilities that are there for intersections and roundabouts allow you to quickly assess options for intersections of the design roads. And then you can quickly add crosswalks and splitter islands and rumble strips and all kinds of great features to your model to figure out, you know, a little bit more of the detail, which makes it nice. And so that'll be gone over in the later chapters of the course where we get into all the design features. But I think the best improved aspect of InfraWorks is its interoperability. You know, when you are ready to take that conceptual design or that preliminary design into a detailed design, you need to be able to quickly move it from one software to another. And the capabilities are there that now you can just open up a InfraWorks model in Civil 3D. So you don't have to lose anything that you've done in InfraWorks to move to the next stage. And so we do talk about moving things from one software to another. And in fact, when you get into the bridge design, we actually take and send that bridge to Revit, because now you just have to right-click on a bridge, send it to Revit, and be able to work on that bridge with Revit structure components and be able to add that detailed design. And when you do take that bridge from InfraWorks to Revit, immediately you have the girders, the piers, the bridge rail components, and the bearings already that were in InfraWorks. They're already in Revit. And so now you just have to take it that step further to show the detailed design. So really great features, all of which are being incorporated into the course, and we look forward to hearing how it turns out with your training.
All right, great. Thanks, Michelle. And I see a note here from Jason that he's a fan of the rearranged chapters in the survey title, so that's great to hear. Just a reminder, if you do have any questions, please jot them down in the Q&A panel in the WebEx interface, and we'll certainly try and get to as many of those as we can. I do see one question there asking about how we're going to keep up with the quarterly updates like the Inventor R2 and R3. You will notice now in the 2017 titles that we do put R1 for all the initial releases in the training guide, so it'll be easier to keep track of the training guides. You'll be able to tell for which revision that particular edition was released for. As for addressing the R2 and R3 subsequent releases, we'll certainly judge that on a case-by-case basis, and it'll depend upon certainly the severity of new changes that have been incorporated in any of these revisions and how they impact any particular title. So we are monitoring that, and in the last couple of years, we've put out R2 releases, and then we did so for Revit at one point and for Vault. So we'll continue to monitor that for the various products and put out releases or updated releases of training guides as necessary for those. But thank you for that question. I'm going to move on now to our visualization and review category, which is where we have our 3ds Max fundamentals that we're just about set to get underway with updates to that, and that'll be released. We're aiming for July for that one. Our showcase fundamentals is in September, and our Navisworks title, Navisworks Essentials, we have slated for release in August. I'm going to have Renew come back once again. Renew updates, maintains our 3ds Max training material, so she can give us some insight into what's happening with that training guide for the 2017 version. Renew.
Thank you, Paul. Hello, everyone, once again. So the new and enhanced features in 3ds Max 2017, which I'll be incorporating into the fundamentals, like the 3ds Max 2017 Fundamentals Training Guide. They will be like this. So the first one will be that a lot of new icons, like most of the icons throughout the software, they have been changed. So the interface has been more modernized, and the look and feel of those icons have been changed throughout. So they are now more 3D looking and have been better streamlined. So although they have been modernized, they still have the similarities with the previous ones so that they are easily recognizable. So the second one will be the Boolean workflow that has been modified to make it easier to add and remove the operands. So the outline are also color-coded so that you can see the results easily in the viewports. There is a new workflow has been added for the working pivot. You can now easily enter the working pivot mode from the reference coordinate system drop-down menu in the main toolbar. And the working pivot can also now be pinned so that it does not change when selecting another object. the sub-object level toggle. So in the new release, this extensively used sub-object levels, which are the vertices, the edge, polygon, element, and the border, they can be accessed using the hotkeys. So a single hotkey can be used to move between different levels to speed up the modeling process. A newly added scene converter, it enables you to convert your legacy scenes so that you can take advantage of the newer lights, materials, and the new render features which have been incorporated in the new software. We will also be incorporating the new sun positioner and the physical sky. So this is a new and streamlined approach to daylight system. It is coordinated. It's a coordinated workflow to create sunlight and daylight systems. So the previous daylight system that consisted of 5 different steps and plugins, and they were found at 5 different locations in the interface. So now the sun positioner is found at a single location and has a coordinated workflow to create daylight system. So this one will be extensively will be covered in the new 2017 Fundamentals Training Guide, and most probably a new exercise will be put in so that it shows how to create a daylight system using the sun positioner. Back to you, Paul.
Great, thanks again, Renu. All right, let's move over now to our manufacturing category, and of course we have several different software that fall into this one. We have AutoCAD Electrical up at the top, and our AutoCAD Electrical Fundamentals for the NFPA version is just about ready to go. We're hoping to have it out before the end of this month, and then the IEC version will follow in June. We have our AutoCAD Mechanical Essentials slated for release in August. For Inventor. Inventor was released back on March 28th, and again, we were able to get a couple of courses out with the release of the software on the 28th. So that was our Introduction to Solid Modeling course, which is our fundamentals level title for Inventor, as well as the Advanced Part Modeling course. So both of those were released on the end of March. Our next ones coming up will be the Inventor for Experienced 3D CAD users. If you're not familiar with that course, that's a great course for anyone that is moving over from some other 3D solid modeling software. So they're already familiar with the basics of solid modeling, and now are just getting introduced to Inventor. So it's really a condensed version of our Introduction to Solid Modeling. So rather than a 5-day course, you can offer this Experienced 3D CAD users course as a 3-day training course. Other titles coming out over the summer will be our Advanced Assembly Modeling in July, Sheet Metal Design in July, iLogic in August, and then our Cable and Harness Design and the Tube and Pipe Design both are scheduled for release in November. Off the top, I mentioned Fusion 360 and that we had a new course coming up for that, and it's listed here at the bottom. So our Fusion 360 Introduction to Parametric Modeling course is a new title for us that we're hoping to have out in the next couple of weeks. So early in May, you can expect to see that one. And this is a course where we will focus on, again, the idea of parametric modeling. So we'll cover things such as sketching, part design, building assemblies through distributed design, building other assemblies through multi-body design. This course will be great for somebody who's coming over from Inventor into Fusion, or again any other 3D solid modeling package where they're used to the concept of parametric modeling. This will make an easy transition for them over to Fusion. We're going to offer this book initially in a digital format only, so it'll be available as ebook and online through our learning management system, Productivity Now. It's also going to be a video-enhanced course, which means we've inserted videos throughout the course to supplement the content that and the exercises that are in that course. So we have a great partnership with our friends at 4D Technologies who produce the CAD Learning video series. So what we've done is taken the Fusion 360 videos that they've developed for this system and embedded those throughout the course. So that'll be a great tool again for anybody who's just getting introduced to Fusion 360 and get them up and running with that. Okay, so now for these titles, for the Inventor titles, I'm going to have Jennifer McMillan come on and talk about that, and then following her, we'll have Renew come back one more time and give us an update on the AutoCAD Electrical. So we'll start it with Jennifer.
Okay, great. Thanks, Paul. So in terms of Inventor, like Paul mentioned, we have 2 books out right now, and I just wanted to briefly go over some of the changes that I made into the books. So starting with the Introduction to Solid Modeling course, one of the things that if you've logged on and installed the software, they've changed the application menu. So there's no longer an application menu, and they've replaced it with the file menu. And you can see here I've got a little image there. So that top right-hand or left-hand button at the top of the screen is now just an image, and you have all of your commands that were in the application menu in that file drop-down list. So the book has been updated to reflect those changes. For the majority of changes that have been introduced into Inventor, not a lot of changes in kind of the core functionality. What they did do, though, is introduce some new functionality. So in Chapter 4, for example, they've introduced sketch-driven patterns. So that's something that we added to that chapter. And basically, this is going to just teach you how you can use sketch-driven patterns to create geometry. So here I've got an example of just a slotted cut, and I've patterned it based on just sketch points, so you can see how that pattern was driven. Additionally, for those of you that interrogate your models and kind of look at a lot of the parent-child relationships, they've also introduced the relationships dialog box. So this is really handy in terms of, you know, picking a feature in your model tree, right-clicking. You can select relationships, and it brings up this dialog box, and it basically tells you the parents and the children of that feature. And even within there, you can go and then switch your parent out and, switch your selected version or selected feature and see the parents and child of that. So you can kind of work through the model interrogating it that way. In addition, some bigger changes that I made in this intro book was I'm always looking to improve the book, and some of the feedback I got from the instructors in this course was that they really liked the engine exercise. However, they found it really long, and sometimes it would drag on a little long, and it was tough to fit all the material in the 5-day course. So what I did there was I moved that engine exercise to the appendix, so it's still there for you. You can still use it. However, I've just added a new exercise that teaches them about creating joints and uses many of the same joint connections, but in a much smaller model. In terms of presentation, so Autodesk revamped the entire presentation mode now, so that chapter basically had to be rewritten from scratch. So I did that, and I took advantage of starting over again, and I actually created a brand new exercise there using that wheel assembly that I used in Chapter 17. So basically, this interface is completely different. It's still used to create exploded views, so you definitely need to use presentation mode to create your explode for your drawings. And then from there, you're basically moving your components, adding trails, and using that information to create animations or snapshots that you can use. So those are the major changes with the Intro to Solid Modeling. So if you're preparing to teach those classes, definitely review some of those chapters before you head into class. Advanced Part was another title we were able to get out right at the FCS release. Some of the changes in there, again, it's kind of high-level functionality changes. So 3D sketch environment has been really enhanced. You can see here 2 ribbon images that I've added, and this shows the 2016 ribbon compared to the 2017. So a couple new features in there, and this has all been incorporated and explained in Chapter 2 of that training guide. As well with Chapter 7. So this is a brand new chapter, and we're talking about the generative shape design functionality. Now, this was functionality that was released in, I think it was R2 of Inventor in 2016. So now that is available not just for subscription customers, it's available to everyone. So I found it really important to actually put that into the training guide. And if you're not familiar with this functionality, just to give you a brief rundown here, it allows you to basically create a lightweight version of your model based on conditions like boundary conditions, loading conditions, any kind of design goal. So here you can see an example where I've actually created the model on the far left, just modeled that up quickly in Inventor. So it's kind of the base shape that I need to follow. And then I can bring it into the generative shape design environment and assign my loads, assign my constraints, and then get them to generate a possible solution to meet that need. I can then overlay that back into my modeling environment and use that meshed model to guide me in terms of what material I can remove from my model. So you can see on the far right then, that's the resulting model that I've created. Now, this being all said, it's great, it's going to give you something, but it's not totally analyzing it. You'd want to take this into an FEA type of analysis as well to make sure that it's going to be structurally sound. And the final kind of major change in this book was dealing with the DWG underlay. So this was functionality that was introduced, I think it was last year, and with the enhancements, again, still kind of they're furthering them a little bit more. They're now allowing you to redefine the placement plane. So definitely an efficiency tool. You don't have to delete and recreate if you've placed it on the wrong plane. Another great tool is the cropping of the underlay. So I've created a number of them, and I've got a huge drawing file, and I don't need all that data. Now I can crop it down to only what I need to see. And then I can also include that DWG underlay in a drawing, and that's simply in drawing environment, just right-clicking and selecting Include directly in the browser. If you're familiar with the 2016 update course that we released last year, there was an exercise in that book where it took basically a factory layout here, as I've shown, and we used it to actually create some fencing around some robotic machinery as well as some tables. So I incorporated this exercise into the advanced part book. So basically, as an instructor, you could go through and look at your students and see which exercise might fit their need a little better, whether it's a modeling exercise where they're taking and actually modeling geometry from a 2D drawing, or something like this where it's more of an underlay to create a layout or something. Anyway, so that exercise is in there for you. So those are the big changes in those two books. As we move forward in the coming months, we'll be looking at updating courses like sheet metal and advanced assembly. Now, there's not too much coming in the advanced assembly from what I can tell. It looks like it's going to be a pretty straightforward update. In terms of sheet metal, we will be incorporating some of the punch representation visibility changes that they're going to be doing, as well as the corner relief shape changes that they've added. So we'll be updating that as well. And that's about it for Inventor.
Great, thanks, Jennifer. All right, now I'm going to invite Renu back one more time. She's going to just highlight a couple of the changes in the AutoCAD Electrical Fundamentals Training Guide. Renu.
Thanks, Paul. I'm back again. So, okay, so I'll be talking now. I'll be talking about the new and enhanced features in the AutoCAD Electrical 2017 software that I have tried and incorporated into the AutoCAD Electrical 2017 Fundamentals Training Guide. So one of the features that that made its way into the training guide, it's the top node now. So in the project manager, in the location view, that was added in last year's release. A top node is added this year. So what this does is the top node, it is a representation of the entire project. Selecting it displays the details and locations of all the devices and components that are present in the project. Then after that is the item resequencing. It has been enhanced, and till the 2016 release, all the drawings would be processed while resequencing, and they were processed separately. Now in 2017, the entire project is processed to keep the numbers in sync for components with the same catalog. What it does is it actually improves the performance because it does not have to process each and every drawing separately, but the project as a whole is being processed. After that is the bill of materials. So when the bill of materials report is run, a new option for including the inventor parts has been added to the reports dialog box. This provides a combined bill of material which displays the parts as in electrical only, or parts that are in Inventor only, and parts in both electrical and Inventor. Now, the electrical audit command, this has been enhanced, and this has a new option to set errors as ignored. If an error does not need to be fixed and you don't want to fix it, you can set the status to ignored and then hide the ignored errors. This is such a convenient way because only the errors that you need to fix are displayed, and then you can focus on them. So these are the enhancements that are being incorporated into the AutoCAD Electrical 2017 Fundamentals Training Guide. Back to you, Paul.
Great. Thank you again, Renu. I mentioned earlier to encourage you to check out our website for the roadmap that shows all the dates, the projected release dates for these titles. Other things that you want to check out there as well is we have a full schedule of webcasts planned for this year, so I think we're doing them roughly one per month. So we started to highlight some of those on the events area of our website. Also check out the blog section because we as well have a lineup of blog postings scheduled throughout the year. Jennifer put one up recently for anybody interested in the generative shape design topic that she talked about. So she's recently posted a blog post highlighting some of the how-to type of information regarding that functionality in Inventor, and we'll have some more coming for all of the different products again over the coming weeks and months ahead. Okay, next category for us is the data management category, and for this one I'm going to highlight here just the 4 titles that we have coming out for that one this year. And we have coming out in May the Vault Basic Essentials and the Workgroup Essentials. So those are just about complete, and we'll have those available soon. And then following those in June will be the Vault Data Management for Inventor Users title and the Autodesk Vault Professional Essentials. I'm going to invite Barb Nash, who's our author for those titles, and she'll give us some insight into what's happening with those. Barb.
Thanks, Paul, and hello, everyone. I'll first talk about the security model change, which is the top enhancement in the software for 2017. It has had the most impact to our 2017 training guides, and in particular the Vault Workgroup Guide. The content has been updated to explain how the new security model works and how it combines object security with state security to provide more control over who can access Vault objects. Details regarding the concept of access control lists and how to change permissions through the security tab have been included, and also details regarding how to view permissions for an object through the effective access tab have been added. For those that haven't seen it yet, it's a nice visual way of determining what a user has the permission to do, accessed from the details menu. And also by default, new lifecycle definitions use the new security model. Therefore, for the exercise in the Vault Workgroup Guide involving configuring a new lifecycle definition, we've updated the steps and images accordingly. This slide shows one of the images from the 2016 exercise compared to the comparable 2017 exercise image. What I found is that the new functionality naturally streamlines the exercises, therefore condensing some of the exercise steps. And for those that are wondering, the legacy security behavior that you may be used to is still possible and is a configurable option and is also documented in the Vault Workgroup Training Guide. And on the next slide here, we have the list of other general enhancements that Autodesk has announced for 2017. The first 2, item and BOM data enhancements and update items enhancement, relate to new 2017 options that have been documented in the appropriate sections in the Vault Professional Training Guide. And then the next 2 relate to checking in and checking out. Check files into a Vault from a different computer relates to the functionality that users can now check files out from one machine, and now in 2017 can check them in on another machine. You may have tried to do this before but couldn't since in previous releases it wasn't possible. The next point about being able to multi-select files for file lifecycle state change rollback has been documented in the Vault Workgroup Training Guide. And as for the custom object linked property support enhancement, details about what you now can do has been documented, and that's in the Vault Professional Guide. And the last one relates to copy design and the new folder list view, which makes it easy to update naming and target folder destinations. And that's shown in the image there. And as for revision tables, based on customer feedback, we've expanded on the content related to creating revision tables and added an exercise detailing the entire process. And regarding the Vault Data Management for Inventor Users course, we've updated it to reflect the Vault Professional interface, replacing the Vault Basic interface images, and included some of the Vault Professional functionalities such as lifecycle states, BOMs, and ECOs as they pertain to user functionality. And that's it for me. Back to you, Paul.
Great. Thank you very much, Barb. Just a reminder again, if you do have any questions on any of the items that we've mentioned here today or anything that you're not seeing, you're curious about, certainly type it into the Q&A panel and we'll try and get to those. I do have one question here from Fernando with a question about Revit. He was asking, will the collaboration book cover any of the new services like collaboration in the cloud or rendering in the cloud? And Fernando, that's something that we're evaluating. We'll certainly be open to input on changes like that. So if it's something that you wouldn't mind talking to us about, we'd certainly be happy to follow up with you and get your input on that. And likewise to anybody else on the call, if there's anything that you'd like to see in the training guides, we're always open to input on that and getting feedback from folks that are using it for training or using it to learn themselves. We'll put our contact information up at the end. So we're always open to anybody who wants to reach out to us and talk to us about the content in the training guides. All right, my final category here is our simulation titles, and these are a special category in that a lot of these we do not develop ourselves. We actually work with the product groups at Autodesk, so you see titles here, for example, for Moldflow, Simulation Mechanical, and Astran, and those we get from Autodesk, and we do the distribution for them, which we're happy to do to get those out to as many folks as possible. We have a number of those coming out over the next few months. You can see, starting with Moldflow, that our first title here, Moldflow Advisor, has already released, and we'll be working with that team to release a number of other Moldflow-related titles over the next coming months. You can see a variety there coming out through between May and August for Moldflow. Also, we have two titles for Simulation Mechanical, Part 1 and Part 2, which together comprise a 5-day training course. Those are slated to come out in June. And finally, the Nastran InCAD Essentials, which is a book that first got released last October, I believe it was, for the 2016 version. We'll be working with the folks at Autodesk to get that updated and have it out for you around the June time frame. All right, next is I'm going to turn it back over to Rhonda, and Rhonda can tell you a little bit about the formats of our products and some of our other services, and she'll also give you our contact information again for anybody who wants to provide any feedback to us. All right, Rhonda, over to you.
Great, thanks, Paul. So we've got a lot of great content coming your way, but we also realize that one size doesn't fit all in terms of delivery formats. So we have, a wide variety available, and these are formats that we've had and will continue to have for the 2017 products. One thing I wanted to mention initially, which I don't have here, with the release of the 2017 products, we are also going to deliver them through Amazon. So if you're an Amazon Prime customer or you prefer shipping through Amazon, that will now be an alternative for you. I will note, though, that the format is a little bit different than our standard format. So the books you've probably seen normally from us here in North America are 8.5 by 11, coil bound. The ones on Amazon, I believe, are 7.5 by 9, and they have a perfect binding, which is the solid binding all the way across the book. But that is a great new option for you if you'd like to use that. We will have links to the Amazon pages. If you go to our website, ascented.com, and go into the particular title product page, we will have links to the Amazon pages there, or you can go right to Amazon and search if you prefer to do that. So again, like I said, we'll have the regular student guides, which are the hard copy book. We will have ebooks, or have ebooks, and video enhanced ebooks. for you this year. So these are a great, green alternative to the printed guide. They've got features like color content, highlighting, note sharing. They're really convenient if you're an instructor and you're traveling a lot, or if you're a student and you're on the go and you just prefer that format. That's nice. We also have the video enhanced version of that same ebook. So that now has videos embedded throughout the guide and provides some additional resources and an enhanced learning experience for the students. So we have those for some of our 2015 and 2016 guides, and we will have them for 2017 in the coming months. We also have e-learning options, and I'll come back to that in just a minute on our next slide and go into that a little more in depth. We have instructor tools for most of our titles. So those include answers to the questions, timing guide for how long to spend on each section, and some of the select titles will also have instructor presentation files. So we find that customers find these useful, whether you're doing delivering a class or even if you're doing self-study, some of those tools are helpful for you as well. We have a digital site license option, and this is really ideal for high-volume training situations. It's a print-on-demand delivery option, but if you're interested in that, that's something you can give us a call, and we'll be glad to discuss with you. So as I mentioned, we'll come back to our e-learning bundles here. So these are our content from the training guides, which are packaged into convenient online learning bundles and courses, and they're available through annual subscription, and they allow you to complete fundamental through advanced level courses, and you can do it from any location as long as you have internet access. And we've got some standard bundles available for AutoCAD, Civil 3D, Inventor, and Revit architecture. And these are prepackaged versions that we have, but if you need something that you don't see within those, we can customize the system too, so you can certainly give us a call, and we're glad to talk to you about that. And we also have video enhanced versions of those bundles. So similar to the ebooks, we have videos embedded in a set of our e-learning bundles as well, which is a really nice enhancement. And all of these are delivered through our e-learning portal, which is called Productivity Now. So all of that just giving your users a richer experience through some of those video demonstrations. And then I just will quickly mention some other offerings that we do have that you may not be aware of. We do have our entire team of technical writers that we certainly are keeping busy, as you can see, with the standard content that we publish, but we also do a lot of different documentation projects. So we can, create, as Paul mentioned, we can create guides based on using some of our existing materials. If you need something created from scratch, whether it's for yourself or perhaps for a project you're working on with your own customer, maybe you've got some best practices you want to include into that package, we can work with you to do that. We can customize it in so many different ways. Maybe it's incorporating your workflows or models or different things like that. So again, it can vary from very simple to a very complex project depending on what you might need. And then finally, if you are authoring content yourself and you would like a means to distribute it, certainly reach out to us. We can discuss any options that we may have for making it available through our own existing system. And then here's our contact information. So just a couple points. So Paul had mentioned our release roadmap. So if you go to ASCENTED.com, which is our primary website there, there's a featured items section kind of in the bottom right corner, and you'll find that roadmap there, and I would encourage you to go back there regularly because it's going to be updated frequently. Like next week even, we'll probably have a new one out there as we get titles published. If we make any changes to the schedule, you want to keep tabs on what the latest and greatest is. Paul also mentioned our webinar schedule. If you go to, again, to ASCENTED.com, there's an events page link at the very top of the page, and you'll find the schedule for the upcoming sessions. You'll find a means to register for those. That usually opens up a couple weeks before the session.
You know what, Rhonda, actually, I'll just let everyone know that we'll have all those registration links up and ready by May 1st.
Oh, okay.
And that way they can register through, for all of them, or anything that they would like.
Excellent. And the other thing I was going to point out on that page is nice because Corrine has also put the links to the recording. So this session, for instance, any prior sessions that we've had and all the future sessions will have recordings there all in one easy location to find. And then Paul mentioned the blog page that we have. So we've got a lot of great information there. We also put Q&A information after our webinars in that space as well, so be sure to check that out. And so a lot of information you're coming your way. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact us at any time. But I just want to say again, thanks from the entire ASCENT team, and we appreciate your time today.